Kak Ines, bisa dimulai sekarang atau menunggu lagi Kak Ines?
Boleh Kak kalau mau mulai sekarang.
Udah 20. Oke, silakan. Ines mungkin dimulai aja.
Dimulai aja. Oke. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Swipe in 3 with the theme of Paradigm about Culture and Education in Turkey during the Pandemic. This event presented to you by Pena Rusa Indonesia and Himpunan Mahasiswa Jurusan Hukum Keluarga Universitas Islam Negeri Bandung. Firstly, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Ines Inocencia. You can call me Ines. I'm from Education Division of Pena Rusa Indonesia, and today I'm in charge as MC of the show. There are already two wonderful speakers that joins with us who will share more about Turkey. Yeah, thank you for coming and thank you to join this webinar with us. Okay, it'll be really exciting and we are looking forward to it. Okay, now it's like 3 p.m. at Jakarta. So let's just jump to the next session. There will be welcome speech from founder of Pena Rusa Indonesia community and also welcome speech from head of HMJ Hukum Keluarga UIN Bandung. First, from Widiatma Alfatan Satrio SPD CH as founder of Pena Rusa Indonesia community, you are welcome to give your speech.
Okay. Thank you so much for Mefe, Mehmet, Ines, Irin, Farhan, and all of the participants who already joined to this webinar today. I was so very excited and very happy to doing this webinar because we can share our knowledge, we can share our all the thing about what we have today. So, but the first is, but I respect the chairman of the Win Bandung Family Law Student Association. His name is Farhan Umarudi. Thank you. I respect for our presenter today, my friend Mehmet. What I'm proud is member for the Pena Rusa Indonesia community and the participant of this webinar, which I really love today. Praise our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala because it's a gift that we can hold this event and then we can join this event until finish today. Don't forget to give salawat and salam to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who already give us the light until final day. Okay. Today we will carry out the third swipe in with the theme of the paradigm about culture and education in Turkey during pandemic. And thank you for my friend Mehmet, which already give your time for being a speaker in here. And thanks to the committee and to those who have collaborated with us. There is HMJ or the chairman of Law Student Association of Win Bandung. And then obviously I give thanks to the participant who already have the spirit for joining to this event today. The aim of Swipe In is to have the mindset of the client inside and outside of the Pena Rusa community to provide enlightenment as material for sharing preference in country and be able to present bright idea about education, both in future, pandemic, and post-pandemic. And so that's why we are doing this webinar to have some culture sharing and education sharing about our country or the speaker country like that. I think enough for me for the greeting for today. And I'm sorry for any less or any mistake for this event or webinar today. I hope all of you can get the point from this event, can get every single thing from this event, and get benefit from this event too. And then I hope all of you can join this meeting. I hope all of you can be happy to share again after this event and then make impactful person to another life like that. And then thank you for joining to this event today. I'm sorry for any mistake for my speech. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kawidi, for the welcome speech. And then the next speech is from Farhan Umarudi as head of HMJ Hukum Keluarga UIN Bandung. To Kak Farhan, you are welcome to give your speech.
Okay, thank you very much for the time. Excellency, the Committee of Pena Rusa Indonesia, and for the speakers, Mehmet Tenderson and Merfederson. Let's thank to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most living and the eternal one, because of his blessing. We can gather here on this event without any obstacles. Peace and salutation be with greatest our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has moved our soul from the bad character to the good one. In this opportunity, let me introduce myself. My name is Farhan Umarudi. You can call me Farhan. I'm come from Tegal, Indonesia, and I study in South Islamic University of Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. In this change, I say thank you very much for Pena Rusa because they trust us to be partner, and we hope this event will go well. That's all maybe for me. I do apologize if there is my mistakes in speech. Thank you very much. I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Kak Farhan, for giving speech. So we remind you also that this webinar, you can watch it on live YouTube, Pena Rusa Indonesia. Before we jump into the webinar, I will read some of the rules. We already shared it in WhatsApp group too, but I will remind you. To every participant, don't forget to rename your Zoom account to peserta _ full name. And then please mute your microphone when you're not talking, when the speakers are talking. And then please not leave the Zoom meeting room before you ask to the committee. And then there will be a Q&A session that will be led by our moderator, Kak Irin. So there will be time when you can ask the speakers. And then when the photo session, please turn on your camera. Okay, and then the next is I will read the CV of our moderator. Name, Khairinur Asahi Batu, but we usually call her Kak Irin. Yeah, hello Kak Irin. Kak Irin has a hobbies such as reading, sport, and journaling. And she has life motto, the only way out is through. Organization she participate is RHMJ Pendidikan Matematika Departemen ICT and HMI Komisariat Tarbiyah. And she also has so much experience on comedy, such as inaugurasi HMI Komtar, Sport and Art Tarbiyah Competition, RAK HMI Komtar, LK 1 Gelombang 1 HMI Komtar, PB Akadema UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, Delta 2019, Sigma 2019, Optika 20. And she also has some teaching experience at TPA BIMTES HMI Komisariat Tarbiyah 2019, Matematika IPA BIMTES HMI Komisariat Tarbiyah 2019, TPA BIMTES HMI Komisariat Fakultas Dakwah dan Ilmu Komunikasi 2019, and also TPA BIMTES HMI Komisariat Fakultas Kedokteran dan Ilmu Kesehatan. Okay, I guess that's from me. And then the next session will be led by our moderator, Kak Irin. You are welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Swipe In, sharing with Pena Rusa Indonesia webinar. We're so excited to have you here, excited about what we're gonna discuss today. Before we begin, same as Ines, make sure your display name is as the format. And for the Q&A session, you can drop your question on the Zoom chat section after the speakers done presenting. Joining us today, two amazing Turkish citizens. Okay, so our first speaker, Mehmet Can Dulsen. I will share his CV. Wait a minute, one sec. Okay, does it show, guys?
Yes. Ready?
Okay. So, as you guys can see there, he is socially and academically active. In high school, he participated in 2 projects. He was a high school intern for those projects from Akademiz University, Antalya, Turkey. Currently, he is assisting in a research related to COVID that run by the university he's attending, Sabancı University, and he is socially active too. In 2019, he participated in ISAC, teaching English in a rural elementary school in Thailand. And a cool speaker too, our second speaker, Malve Dosen. I will share her CV. I guess it already shows. As you guys can see, she studied medicine in 2 universities, Çukurova University and Akdeniz University. She also took lots of courses about medical sciences. There are, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, my leg. She took lots of courses about medical sciences, and she was also socially active too. She was an ISAC volunteer back in 2018, which held in Serbia. Today, they're gonna be sharing how is it going there in Turkey during this COVID-19 pandemic, Turkey generally, its history, cuisine, culture, and of course, the education right now there in Turkey. Okay, they're already here, so they look so ready to share a lot of interesting and informative knowledge about Turkey. Mehmet and Malve, are you ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Yes, we are ready.
Okay, without
Thank you very much for your kind words. Let me share my screen.
After you, Mehmet and Malve.
Can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome everyone for joining us today to listen our presentation about the culture and education in Turkey regarding pandemic. Firstly, I will be introducing our country in the basis of without pandemic to have a basic understanding of what is Turkey and improve on the culture. And then my sister Merve Dursun will going to talk about the pandemic and its reflection on education also. So let me introduce well, the basics of the country. Well, it is called the Turkish Republic officially, and in Turkish we call it Türkiye Cumhuriyeti. It has its own language. It's called Turkish, and we have the population of I'm seeing there is an image drawn by a participant.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Okay. Why he draw something? Wait. Okay.
Okay, also there's a little bit blue line on the top, the bottom left. So perhaps the person who drew can also erase that part. Let me continue to my presentation then. We have a population of 83 million people, and you will see our country's map right now. So it's a little bit dense in terms of population per area. We have in our country, we have 7 regions. The one that includes also the Istanbul, that foreigners, other countries know best, is located in Marmara. Let me find my cursor. Yes, Marmara, Black Sea. This point, this region is the most known region for producing the tea in Turkey. So it is known that we are in first 3 countries in the world for tea consumption per citizen, and the tea production is coming from this region, Black Sea. And we have Eastern Anatolia, that is the far east of Turkey. This place is more like focused on with animals rather than farming, because it's not available. Much of its parts is not available for farming. That's why people are working with animals like the goats, the cows, and etc. And they are selling and feeding them for their life. And we have southeastern Anatolia. This is the part that has the most diversity of culture, traditions, and also the foods that I will show in the next slides. And we have Mediterranean region. Me and my sister's home is located in this region. Actually, you can see it here. And it is known for its great weather, and it's tourism, actually, more of like this location is known for providing financial support to country in terms of tourism. And we have Aegean region, which is also kind of nice place for tourism also. And it also has an historical meaning in our country that I will explain in a couple of slides later. And we have the Central Anatolia that contains the capital city of Turkey, Ankara, here. This part. And let's see what I missed. Well, we have in total 81 cities, and Turkey is connecting Europe and Asia through the Istanbul in the Bosphorus. 1 second, I will request from you. All right. So what do we have left? We have Black Sea North, and Aegean Sea is west, and Mediterranean is east, Mediterranean Sea south. So we have, like, it's not shown here. I specifically chose this map to show you in terms of English language of the regions. But there is an sea here, Mediterranean Sea, Aegean Sea, and Black Sea here. And there is a land connection to Iran, Armenia, Georgia, and other countries. So we are like, in terms of geographical terms, we are located on a peninsula here. And the geographical location of Turkey is known for first human settlements. Çatalhöyük, that is assumed as the start of people settling down rather than traveling all the time in their life. So it's an important place. It's exactly in central Anatolia, if I'm not mistaken. It's an important place in terms of history for all over the world, since it's the first human settlement assumed. And before moving on to the culture, let me introduce also the history of our country. So, as you all know, as it's known, because it was a big empire and a powerful empire back at its time, we were founded after the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire is founded in 1299, so it has a long history, and it is ended in 1990. Basically, the last times of Ottoman Empire was during the First World War. In the till the First World War, the last 20 or 30 years, actually, let's say last 200 years, were like unstable in Ottoman Empire because of the incompetence of the leaders that were not coming by the previous traditions, but they were chosen due to a complex system that was brought by another empire, Sultan, we call Sultan lately. So there was an incompetence in leading, and there were lots of loss of lands due to many wars. You know, the Ottoman Empire was not from this shape only. It had lands in 3 continents: Asia, Europe, and also Africa. But due to the reason that I told, the miss of leadership in the leaders and the directions, soldiers' morale, and all disadvantages, Ottoman Empire began to get smaller and lost lands. And in the First World War, we all know the First World War, the English, the France, and the other allies versus Germany and the allies. And we were in the side of, the Ottoman Empire was in the side of Germans. And as Germany declared their loss of war, we also declared the loss of war because we didn't have any additional support to keep the fight going on, because the Ottoman Empire was so powerful in terms of humans and control of humans with the religion of Islam, because we had the Caliphate. But Ottoman Empire was lacking the technological development. So Germany was providing this. And since they declared defeat, Ottoman Empire didn't have enough support to continue the war. So it was also a defeat for the Ottoman Empire. And after the defeats, English, the British, the French, and the Italians wanted to share our lands amongst them and to nearly almost end us. It was done by a treaty of Sevres. This is called the agreement. This is the agreement. It is, how to say, it wasn't never actually on the application. It was offered to the Turkish or the Ottoman government. And unfortunately, Ottoman government that was dictated by the Sultan accepted this. By the way, the Treaty of Swords is shown here. It shows that the blue parts will be belonging to Greece, and the green parts will be going to Italy's. These parts will be going to be French, and these are the British. They're sharing the oil sources basically. And here is Armenia, and there are some joint territories of, again, these invader countries. And in this agreement, what we were left is just this yellow land. So it was a clear defeat and an obvious invasion. At that time, in general, Ottoman Empire, again, I said, was powerful and active and acting fast and everything nice that helped them contribute and get large to that size in lands and ruling. However, the last sultans of Ottoman Empire lacked the courage to defend their own country. So also in our country and in our people, it is not taken into consideration as these sultans were protecting the Ottoman Empire. In fact, they were accepting the offers from British that were offering this invasion, and they said yes. And this treaty also included giving up all the weapons of army of Ottoman Empire to these allied forces. So it was like a complete surrender. There were the communication lines were all delivered to them, and no communications, no weapons. It's just a bunch of people living in this area. However, the Ottoman Empire does not only consist of the Sultan or its government. The real part that makes Ottoman Empire is the soldiers and the public. That is not only living in Istanbul, but all over the country. So let's continue for the history of Turkey in this slide. These people didn't, of course, accept living in only this yellow parts. They wanted to preserve their liberties. So they got all raised, and they had revolts all over the empire. They are called Kuvayi Milliye in Turkish. It means Turkish revolutionaries. These were not like organized revolutionaries. They were like all people, for example, in this place. And all these parts, people were like defending their own countries, own cities and regions. And after the occasion that I will tell you about in a few seconds, they were all united, and there was like a whole resistance through the invasion forces. The main factor, the main character that's carried out this organizing role is, Turkey is known for his great leader, is Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was, let me also talk about his past a little bit. He was also a soldier in Ottoman Empire. So he fought also in the First World War. The only front that the Ottoman Empire was successful in First World War was this Çanakkale, Gallipolian, how to say, like Bosphorus again. The Allied forces were trying to make a pass through this zone with their ships. Their plan was to continue on and pass to Istanbul again and to support Russia, because they were also in this same side, and Russia had some financial issues. But our victory was that they didn't even pass the first area here, even though they had powerful ships and high-level technology of weapons. They were unable to pass through this part. And Mustafa Kemal Atatürk also was a commander in this front. So after this success, he got a lot of reputation all over the country for defending in this part. Of course, he was not alone. There were other commanders too, but his strategic decisions made it possible to defend this area. So while there was a discussion of this treaty, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk went to Istanbul near the Sultan. At that time, he was the commander, and it was easy for commanders to communicate with the Sultan, and he asked him not to do this agreement. It will be end of the Ottoman Empire. But the Sultan refused his offer because, how to say, it was in his best interest to accept the offer because British forces, British government offered him protection if he gives the lands, and his family will be taken care of. And again, as far as I said last time, the last time Ottoman empires are not so powerful in leadership and perhaps in patriotism, I don't know. So that's why he refused the offer. And Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, on his own decision, without the approval of the Sultan, took a ship from Istanbul to a city called Samsun here. And he started communicating with other generals and soldiers, high-ranked officers, to organize all the people. And he prepared holded some meetings in different cities, like Samsun, Erzurum, and Sivas. And these are the places that he wrote like amendments for whole country, saying like, we all know that you're fighting to defend your own lands. Why don't let's do it all together, in an organized way, so that we can get rid of all the enemies at once in our country. So he had lots of meetings with lots of people, soldiers, local people that are known, that are local famous people, let's say. And the final point was the Ankara. In the Ottoman Empire, it had no political meaning, but with Mustafa Kemal Atatürk and his friends, Ankara was chosen to be the capital city of Turkey. And they founded their own government. And this government was containing local people, local famous people from all over Turkey, all over the Ottoman Empire at that time, so that it represented like the real idea, the real opinion of Turkish public. So at the same time, there was also the Istanbul government, but since people were believing and following the Ankara government at that time, because Ankara government was the one who was fighting for the lands of Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, as they fight through with the enemies, Ankara government, with Greece, French and British, there was not much of a fight with Italians because they weren't really interested in, they were cut half in the support. So they backed up as soon as they saw the revolts against the other enemies. So it was like a big fight. There were battle in 3 fronts. It was with Greece, it was with France here, and it was with Armenians in the east. So as well, you may know, currently, like, and in the past, there is a conflict between Turkish people, all Turkish people, like the Azerbaijan people, Azerbaijan Turks and Turkish Turks, and also others. But this specific Turkish community have conflict with Armenians because it is not only depending on some war conflicts. When all others were trying to invade our lands, also they were trying to invade our lands. And during the First World War, they were removed from the, these eastern regions because they were organizing massacres. That was because of, there was a treaty declared by the United States presidents regarding the First World War. It was said that in a region, which people has the highest population, which community has the highest population, then they should own the land. It's like if Turkish people are in the majority there, it must be Turkey's lands. If it's Armenians, it must be Armenians. If it's Georgians, then it must be Georgians. Therefore, at that time, there were all like these gangs in Turkey, in the Ottoman Empire, that tried to do massacre on local people, innocent people, to increase their majority, like to decrease others' populations and increase themselves. And by the way, these are not words of fans of patriotism. These are the facts. Like there are documents of them gathering up gangs and killing the local people. The Armenians are doing this. And the Ottoman Empire at that time, of course, to protect their own people, take the Armenians and sends them to outer regions of these lands that they claim themselves to be. And when they are moving these people, of course, they are the ones killing the innocent people. They are not easily going to accept being moved. So they are resisting, and Ottoman Empire is applying force to sustain this, to suppress this force from Armenians, and they are removing it. So the fact, actually, the thing that we know as the Armenian genocide in 1950 is just like this. There is like not like a genocide, but it's only they are applying genocide to local people, not even this people on this side. They're applying to local people, innocent people on this side, to increase their majority, to get the claim on the lands. And the Ottoman Empire is removing them because they're killing innocent people. And this is introduced to the world press as Armenian genocide. I just wanted to clarify this point, even though it's not directly related to Turkish history. It's starting from Ottoman Empire, but recently I heard the news that the United States is going to accept the Armenian genocide as a fact. So I wanted to inform people about the real truths, the truths that depend on the documents of that time and that are accepted by the historians, not some propaganda leanings. Anyway, let's move on. We had 3 wars in 3 fronts. Let me check if I'm behind schedule. All right. And after these wars are gradually over, we declared our, as you can see, the last final map, the outline of our map. This Hatay, this city, was not included in the last map, but it was a crucial point that is claimed by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and we see the importance of it now because there is lots of conflicts. I mean, this battle in Syria, we know, and it's an important. There's an importance, geographical importance of this country, this city, and it was taken like 15 years later by a political force, not any wars or etc. People of this city chose themselves to join the Turkey, and so that's how the Turkey is found, with wars and declaring ourselves to invaders. So I will skip this fast because I know we are in Ramadan. I'm sorry to show you this, but Turkey, food cuisine is also an important part of Turk culture. And as I said, the last city that joined us has a variety of traditions, and then also the food. And one of the most important, a few of the most important foods that we have are, I mean, you know this, perhaps, it's called kebab. The kebab is this one, the original form. It comes with the tomatoes and all other supplementary stuff. And we have this dessert. It is called künefe. It includes the cheese, that's why it's elongating so much. And we have baklava, also sweet. And we have sarma. You know, this includes rice and the leaves of grape. and we have Smith and chai. So sorry, chai and Smith, and these are the very fundamental foods of Turkish people, because this is tea. The chai means tea, and I just mentioned that Turkey has one of the most consumption in the world of tea, and this is like a traditional food for us, like everyone can eat. And we have this. This is the local food from our city, me and my sisters. It is köfte piyaz. It's like the meatballs. It's common, but this one, I don't think it doesn't have any English names either. It's called piyaz. It includes eggs, tomatoes, and the beans, and it's a very delicious taste that is going on very well with the meatballs. And let's move on with another topic in Turkish culture. It's called Sufism. Let me take a break. So this Sufism in Turkish culture is like an Islamic mysticism. The leader, the role figure of this believing is Mevlana Celaleddin Rumi. You can see his depiction here. He lived in 12,000. Yes, around the year 1200, sorry. And he wrote a book about his understanding his ideology. The book is called Mesnevi, and it is referred to as the Book of Truths and Wisdom regarding Islam. And regarding to this belief system of also directed to the Islam, there is special dance called Sema. It is the ritual dance where the people who do the dance, the Semazan, and trance, like get in an emotional and mind state, and spins around themselves, relentless of the speed, and just they're like giving up their souls and minds to the God, and like it's like a spiritual thing, as I said, and it is done with the music called Sufi music. It is played by an instrument called ney, N-E-Y, and it's a beautiful sound. You can search for it. And there is a night of year, sorry, that is special in terms of Sufism. It is the anniversary of death of Mevlana Celaleddin Rumi, the role figure. And the ceremonies of the spinning dances, the ritual dances, are performed with the music. And the night is called Shebi Aros, meaning the night of reunion. And also in terms of traditional dances, we have Zeybek. Zeybek is also related to the people who fight in the west side during the independence war of Turkey that I showed you in the maps. So these are not like some costumes. These were the real clothes that were worn at this time. And this is the costume of Zeybek, and it's like a slow dance that are mostly for men. And this is Horon. It comes from the region that the tea is produced. It's like an active dance, and it's for both males and females. And this is Halay from the eastern region, and it's also for both males and females. And it's like also an active and high tempo music, of course, onto their own regional traditions. And let's get to some funny stuff. There are lots of common mistakes about Turkey. Actually, these mistakes are mostly done by Europeans and United States people. I'm not sure. I haven't heard really from people from Asia that saying these. But let me clarify again, if you don't know. Well, the first mistake is Turks are Arabs. Actually, Turks get angry when they are accused of being Arabs. It's not because their religion, like we are also living Muslim Islam. We are mostly Muslim country. But the thing is, in the last years of the Ottoman Empire, the Arabs hit Ottoman Empire in the back while they were fighting with these non-Islamic, the Christian allied forces. While they were fighting with them, the Arabs also rebelled and fought against the Ottoman Empire. And it was like, while there was a conflict between the Muslim and the Christians, these Arab communities turned sides and joined the allied forces and accepted their offers in terms of the weapons that had higher level of technology and fought against the Ottoman Empire. In fact, there is a British special agent called Lawrence, the Arabian. You may want to write it down because he also wrote books about this, and he's not like hiding this. He is an agent that disguised himself like an Arab and supported Arabs and provided the communication between the British and the Arabian communities. So he is the real life evidence of British people supporting Arabs and Arabs turning back against us. So even though we are hosting refugees of Syrians and Arabs in our country, there is still an historical anger towards the Arabian community that they hit us in the back. So let's continue as written here. We are not Arabs. The Turkish people like Turk are also like a sub-race. And our ancestors are actually originating from the Middle Asia. So we are also from Central Asia. And the Turkish Turks are the ones that traveled through the Middle Asia and come to Turkey. So there are like lots of different Turkic communities, like for example, even the Hungarians. Hungary has Turkic origins. And the Ajar Turks, if I'm not mistaken, they are the ones that are going to Hungary, and there is also a Turkish party in the political sense of Hungary that is representing the Turkish origin of them. And they're like, as you all know, the Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, they are all Turkish states, Turkish countries. So like the word of Turk is not only belonging to Turkey. It's like a whole people's, I have to say, if it's politically correct, like a race of people, Turkish race, like, and these are the separate communities of Turkish people spread over the Asia and Europe. And Europe. And the second one is that Turkey is covered with deserts. Well, it's not true. Well, I think these two go together, the Arabs and deserts. So that's why they are matched and accused to us. So I shown a few pictures of Turkey's views. This is from the Cappadocia. This is one of the most famous touristic places in Turkey, and it's the winter season. And it's like the proof of winter we having a winter, because we have 4 seasons lived prominently in our country. And this is Antalya, my hometown, and my sisters. This place is called Yacht Limanı, the harbor of yachts. And it is a beautiful weather and the sightseeing. And another common mistake about Turkey is that, well, not before going to that, there are other pictures. This is the autumn picture of Bolu, and this is where the tea grows, the Black Sea region. And there are lots of hills, very high hills, that on the side of the hills they are growing tea. And the third one is the Turks ride camels and wear vests. This is also some claim that is remnant of the Ottoman Empire culture. Not the Ottoman Empire culture, but Ottoman Empire's Arabian lands culture was all referred to the Turkish culture. We don't ride camels, just like every civilized society. We use modern transportation such as car, bus, motorcycle, and tram. And fez is never worn in Turkey in Turkish history. It was used during Ottoman Empire, last times of during Ottoman Empire. And in Turkey, it is banned to use it as a daily clothing, piece of clothing, and it's uncommon to wear fez in Turkish history because it was forbidden and it's not used and it doesn't represent Turkish culture. Actually, to the Ottoman Empire, it was coming from a community, a Christian community. This tradition was coming to the Ottoman from a Christian community, and they adopted it like some kind of a tradition, I don't know, not related to religion. So therefore, we are not like wearing this fez. By the way, when I say fez, if it's not coming up to your mind, it's like a red cylindrical hat that has a little fluffy ropes on the side. I wish I have put the picture. I'm sorry, I forgot that. And lastly, for the Turkish music, since I couldn't show, I wouldn't be able to show it by opening videos, like it will be too long. If we can share these links later with the participants, maybe with the help of the community, I prepared these lists by myself. And these are some exemplary songs that can be listened to have an understanding of Turkish music, like the pop, rock, nostalgia music, and the slow. And this was my part. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And the next part will be presented by my sister, Mary Dursun.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about pandemic and its reflection on life and education in our country. Mehmetcan, you can pass. Okay, so first COVID-19 case of Turkey seen in 11th of March. I still remember that night. It was middle of the night and Health Minister of Turkey announced we have the first case in Turkey. Actually, I wasn't surprised because at that moment I was worked in hospital and I was talking to my friends in the emergency and they keep saying there are possible cases, so we are waiting for the results of their tests. Anyway, so in 11th of March we had our first cases and and then restrictions come after that. Firstly, we are closed schools. It was in the beginning, it was just for like 3 weeks, but then it gets longer and borders are closed. Like at the first, it was for some countries and then it's, wide the countries and almost all over the countries, we have to close our borders due to COVID restriction. And also restaurants, theaters, cinemas, cafes, and gyms, all the crowded places are closed for, reduce the transmission of the virus. And after a few days, I guess, obligation to wear a mask in crowded areas was introduced. And after this, unfortunately, price of masks will increase. And after government see that, they will supply to all citizens to free face mask, which it was good because the price were really high. And they supplied, but for example, some people like me, my mask reached really late, but some people get them early. Yes, we can continue, Mehmetcan. And also the people who are coming from outside of country, for example, people went to somewhere for travel or due to their job, or for example, for the people who went to Mecca, Medina for Hajj. We said Hajj in Turkish, but I don't know in English. Most probably the same Hajj. And all those people stayed at the quarantine dormitories at 2 weeks, and it was also free. And all the foods and all the needs, all the thing they need, also given them for free. And after these 2 weeks, they checked for COVID-19 and they sent home. And this was also important, how can I say, important service to people. Also, it's helped to keep cases, reduce the cases of COVID-19. Mehmetcan, we can continue. And in the beginning of April, a new instruction had been announced, like citizens under 18 and over 95 are prohibited from going out. This is also still going on for protect the people who are most, if they had the virus, they could affect it most, such as people over 95 age. So for protecting them from the virus, they're still staying home, and just 4 hours a day they can going out for walking and for handling their job to do, but except that still it's prohibited from going out for them. And some groups are established. It's called vefa grupları in Turkish, vefa groups. Those people help people who are prohibited to go out, such as citizen elder than over than 65 age, and also people are tested positive for COVID-19 because they're not allowed to go out. So once they call one phone number, they can call someone for help, like for getting food or for anything, like when they run out of their pills, for example, for the elder people, they using pills, and also foods or anything, any needed like this. And these groups, teachers, policemen, some soldier groups, and for example, other people from different kind of jobs also worked at those vefa groups, and this group helped a lot of people at this time. And John, you can change it. And after that, cases are keep increases, and because of that, the government decided declared there will be a lockdown on weekends, and still this is also going on. For example, today is Saturday, and we have lockdown, and we are not allowed to go out except buy food or like for emergency situations. And those are the pictures from most crowded places of Istanbul during the lockdown. You can see it was full. It was like a ghost city, and yes. And as a doctor, I can say actually this wasn't enough to just lockdown on weekends because virus could transmit every day, but this was still something. I can understand why they cannot make a whole lockdown because the economy is because of the economic situation. So this lockdown is still going on weekends. And also, as a precaution of the COVID-19, private hospitals were converted to the public hospitals. So also they took care of COVID-19 patients as well, like public hospitals. And economic support package are announced. They give tradesmen, the people who has like shops, they gave some money to them, but because of the pandemic and the current economic situation, unfortunately, it wasn't enough, and lots of people lose their job. But they declared, government announced, layoff will be not allowed for a certain time. I think it's still going on. People are not laid off their their people, the people who works at their shops or places. And except the way of this, government give the allowance for these people, so they are still can get payments, but not as much as their usual salary. So pandemic affect a lot as economic too. Mehmetcan. And some municipalities, for example, Istanbul, Ankara, or the other ones, organize new campaigns, such as it's called in Turkish Askıda Fatura. For example, I am some citizen who cannot afford my for example, my bills, and I am writing this to the municipality, and they take my bill anonymously and put on a website. And for people who can afford this, they can choose the bill they want to pay. So people are helping each other and without knowing each other. You know, all the things are anonymously. No one meet each other and helping each other. It's also, I think it's really nice example of one hadith by you know, the Hazrat Muhammad said, right hand, okay, I couldn't translate. One's right hand gives some help, the left hand shouldn't see it. Like once you help someone, it should be, yeah. I hope it's understood. And I think this is a good example for this. And also free internet connection also are organized for online education, because on some villages in Turkey, internet connection is not good, unfortunately. So some municipalities help the better internet connection. And towards the summer, case numbers were decreased and restrictions are loose. Like, for example, the restaurants, cafes, and everything are open, and lockdowns won't be for during the summer. Yes, Mehmetcan, you can go. But end of the summer, everyone understand that was a mistake, because case were increases again, and almost 20,000 new cases per day, it was really, really high, and health system was on the verge of collapse. During that moment, I was at emergency in my hospital, and it was really crowded. I remember one day when I entered the hospital, half of the emergency organized for the COVID-19 patient. One day before it was emergency, and the other day it was COVID-19 patients area. And so those times were really, really bad times, and health system was on the verge of collapse, and restrictions are come back again. Yes, Mehmetcan. We can change the slide.
1 second, I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, so towards to the New Year Eve, like on the December of 2020, as you know, some vaccines are begun to apply to people. Also in our country, the first vaccination began on the middle of January, and I was one of them. As a doctor, vaccination reached in first weeks of January in our country, and healthcare providers, healthcare workers start to be vaccinated first. And this photo on the left side is me getting vaccinated. And after the healthcare providers, elderly people followed them, and there were options to get vaccine at their home for protect them to transmission of the virus in a hospital. So lots of healthcare providers, I'm really sorry that I forgot to show a picture of it, went to the villages. For example, like you cannot reach by the car because of the snow. All doctors, nurses, and everyone walked the kilometers away for just get the elder people vaccinated. I wish I show the picture of this. And besides of the most European countries, we had the CoronaVac vaccine. But now we also had BioNTech Pfizer vaccine applying. So yeah, thank God we have vaccine. Thank Allah we have got vaccine. At the beginning of March, restrictions were loosed again because cases were really decreased. But once we opened everything, it's always same thing happening. You know, the cases increase again. Consequences of this were not good to opening everywhere. Unfortunately, right now we have 60,000 cases per day, and it's really forced the healthcare system. So right now, vaccination continues with teachers and students who are older than 55. Yeah, we can change. As 22 of the April, total case of Turkey was over 4 million people, and number of people who get vaccinated is over 20 million. And it's still going on, of course. And let's talk about a little bit of education. On 16th of April, on March of school were closed, and it was at the beginning for 3 weeks, but then it's get longer. At the beginning, they are trying to make some arrangements for online education. They produce kind of videos, programs with the teachers. So it's shown on the TV, and also it's on the internet, on the website. The National Education Ministry make them ready. And our parents, my brother and my parents are also teacher. So we are, real witness of how the things going on online education. So they provide education such as like this application, Zoom and others. They organized their lessons with their teacher, but unfortunately, internet connection wasn't good enough on some regions. The place, for example, some village so high and the quality of internet is not good, and unfortunately, all people cannot afford buy computer, tablet, or phone either. So some children are affected because of this, and it's really sad. And I'm going to show you some picture of the student, how they try to reach internet connection, how try to reach their education, actually. Yes, those are the children who went out somewhere outside of their village to find good spot for a good internet connection. And so that's basically like this. We can change slide. And until the last September, education continued online, and on September, schools were opened, like not all days, and they organized the classroom won't be full, and like social distance also was important. But after cases are decreased, almost 20,000 case per day, also their schools were closed again. Currently, education mostly continue online, but for students who had 8th grade and 12th grade, which they're going to be on exam for entering university or high school. They have exam. So for the opportunity of equal opportunity of education, schools are open for them, but the other students having their education online. Yes, that's all. Thanks for listening, and if I made a mistake, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much for listening. And also, by the way, I want to add something to last slide. Also, my school is continuing face-to-face education. I'm at the university. I'm also currently studying in the dormitories. But it's partially open. I mean, the students who need laboratory access for their courses are coming to campus, and those who are not coming to campus. Like, it's partial. And if you want to contact us, these are the ways of communication for us you can reach from.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Mehmet and Move, for the presentation. Such very informative presentation. And for you guys, I guess you guys already have so many questions inside your head. So drop your questions on the Zoom chat section, and then Mehmet and Move will answer your questions right away. Okay, yes, we'll wait for the questions to pop up for some minutes. Okay, while waiting for the questions, actually, I have something to ask. Is that okay?
May I?
Okay, Kawidi, go ahead. I'll ask.
Yeah. You for my friend Ahmed, please already give the presentation of the material, and I already read for some evaluation form for this attendance, and some of the participant in here cannot recognize what you say because there is some people who have the English was beginner, but it's okay. I will talk to my participant first. Okay. Terima kasih buat teman-teman semua yang sudah mengisi absensinya. Saya juga membaca sedikit untuk evaluasinya. Jadi ada beberapa yang mungkin kurang paham. Jadi kalau misalnya ada yang ingin ditanyakan, silakan ditanyakan dengan bahasa Indonesia saja. Nanti bisa ditranslate ke bahasa Inggris oleh moderatornya. Seperti itu. Jadi buat teman-teman sekalian yang memang mungkin bahasa Inggrisnya kurang atau misalnya masih terbata-bata, is okay, bisa ditulis sama chat. Karena kebetulan pematerinya ini adalah mahasiswa yang satu sudah lulus, Mevri sudah lulus, dan Mehmet sedang kuliah di jurusan Nanotechnology Engineering, seperti itu. By the way, I want to have some question for Mehmet and Mevri. This is about the culture. This month is already Ramadan, and can you tell what your some habit or some culture when you are doing when Ramadan comes, or what is you're doing which very different with another month than Ramadan, like that? I think because both of you Muslim, so you can tell for us, for exactly for the Muslim people, what you do or what you really do for Ramadan, or which cannot you do in other month, like maybe like that. Thank you.
Okay. Shall I start up, sister?
Yes,
Right.
you can.
Thanks. So for the beginning, I don't know if it's directly related to religion or it's like a traditional part of beginning of Ramadan, but we have canons, and in the beginning of the Ramadan and at the end of the Ramadan, these 2 days, around the I don't know the English word, like there are 5 parts of the day, 5 times that we pray. The third one in the middle, that is around the afternoon. İkindi. Sister, what is the English version for ikindi? Do you know?
For English version, I don't know, but
let me check. It's mid-afternoon prayer. So around the time of mid-afternoon prayer, in the beginning of the Ramadan and at the end of the Ramadan, we have like real sized cannons that are firing cannonballs 3 times. That indicates the start, yes, and the ending of the Ramadan. So it's like there is some tradition or some part that we can start with, that it shows everyone that it starts, even the people who forget, and like, I don't know, like a reminder. And another thing is that when we are...
Can I add something? Yes. Also at the iftar time, still they're shooting 1 cannonball to make everyone should understand that you can...
Yeah, each day also, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for correction. 3 times in the beginning and the end, and once every day at the time of iftar. the opening of fasting. And at the night when we are eating at sahur, by the way, we are used to the words. We know the words that are modified to Turkish versions of these concepts. So if you're using words that are unfamiliar to you, like iftar is iftar, sahur is sahur, but something, if you're saying it differently, please tell us so we can find the way to explain you. In sahur, we have a tradition of people. Actually, this coming back from the Ottoman Empire. At sahur, when it is kind of difficult to wake up, so there are like drummers, traditional drummers, that go walk around the streets and wake everyone up. And it's like with the music, they sing songs like
poets, kind of poets.
And poems, yes, and poems that are considerably related to the religion, like, and some jokes to make people wake up, and with the noise, and like to have a clear wake up, not only like the bell, the drum, dum dum dum, but like having some nice words to that could cheer people up. And another thing is that we have Ramadan packages in markets. It is like a whole large package that contains foods on discount, the basic foods on discount, to be used throughout the month, right? Not for one day,
Yes.
it's for the whole month. Yes,
for whole month.
For the whole month. And you cannot, if I'm not mistaken, you can also buy these for other people. Like you pay the price, you pay the cost of it, and people who are in need can go to the store and pick them. It's like an also how to say, helping each other in a society. It's, by the way, it is additional to fitra, not giving the money for poor people to like have a money that they can eat the basic foods. Like this is additional to the fitra, the religious duty. It's like a social help thing, additional thing. So these are the three things that I could come up with: the Ramadan packages, the drums, and the cannons. If there is anything additional,
and also not as a traditional, but about food. We have some particular desserts, mostly making and eating in Ramadan, and it's called güllaç. And I think you didn't show the picture of it.
It's layers of milk damped.
I couldn't.
Flavor.
Flavor, yeah, and flavor, milk, and it depends on which thing you want. So it's also kind of special for Ramadan. Mostly eat and produce during the Ramadan. And let me think what else. I think that's all I could thought of anything.
Iya, Kak Irin bisa dipandu.
Okay, we have two people that want to ask questions. Here we have Nurusabila. Kak Nurusabila mau lewat chat atau berbicara langsung? Okay, selain other than Nurusabila, we have Nurul. She has a question. Nurul, you may ask the question. Also, others that has a question, you can straight ask Mehmet and Mave if you want to talk. You don't have to type here on the chat section. You can just ask them the question. Gimana Kak Nurusabila? Kak Nurul? Okay. Here we have Nurul Sabila Aulia. She has a question. How is the state of Ramadan in Turkey while the situation is pandemic?
May I start, Mehmetcan?
Of course.
Okay. As a traditionally during the Ramadan, mostly people were, during the iftar time, going each other's house and eat together during the iftar. But due to pandemic, it's not possible for right now. So we are really missing this tradition, this thing, because for Ramadan it means being together, the neighborhood or your relatives, and if iftar together, and it is really important for us. But during the pandemic it's also a fact, so we cannot gathering with the people, with our relatives or anyone. And due to the pandemic also, the Terawih pray, you say Terawih, right? Okay. And Terawih pray, you cannot go to mosque because of, if for praying Tarawih, you can pray in the home, but due to pandemic, like to 60,000 cases per day, it's not allowed to go to mosque for Tarawih pray, and it's also a fact. And what I can also add, Mehmetcan, do you want to add something?
Yes, there's one thing I remember. I mentioned about the drummers that wake people up in the sahur time. They usually get tips from people, like money, small amount of money. That also kept them going on with this job during the Ramadan. But currently, since giving tip means coming face to face with the drummer in the apartments or in the opening of the building, it means like the drummer will go to each house, and if some house has the coronavirus patient, the person will carry out all the other stuff, other people. So it is forbidden for the drummers to take tips from the ones who wake up to the sound. So it may affect their financial situation since they are doing this in the midnight. That's another factor to consider.
Okay, I guess I will translate a little from Kak Widi question and Nurul Sabila question. Kak Widi questions was Ramadan habits in Turkey. They have kebiasaan di bulan Ramadan di Turki itu ada mid afternoon pray, jadi sholat di waktu mid afternoon gitu. Terus ada saat buka puasa, terus saat sahur. Kalau misalnya kita di Indonesia itu suka ada yang bangunin sahur-sahur. Nah di sana tuh juga ada, tapi versi Turkinya ya. Terus habis itu di sana juga ada selama Ramadan itu whole month itu dia ada food discount. Terus untuk pertanyaan kedua dari Kak Nurul Sabila, itu tadi gimana sih situasinya di sana Ramadan tapi pandemik gitu. Terus karena biasanya di sana itu Ramadan itu biasanya bersama-sama kan, tapi karena pandemik mereka jadi nggak bisa pergi ke satu sama lain ke rumah satu sama lain kayak gitu, nggak bisa saling mengunjungi. Terus habis itu juga terawihnya di rumah ya, sama kayak di Indonesia. Terus untuk yang bangunin sahur tadi itu biasanya ada orang yang ngasih untuk yang bangunin sahur itu biasanya ada yang ngasih tips, tapi karena sekarang pandemik jadi karena takut transmisi virusnya, jadi nggak boleh untuk ngambil tipsnya kayak gitu. Nah, untuk next question, we have a question from Tugus Putra. Hello, I want to ask a question. Have you visited Indonesia? If you have visited Indonesia, what Turkish culture might be has the same vibes as Indonesia culture?
You want?
Well, yeah, sure. I haven't been to Indonesia yet, even though I want so much. The way I have the connection with my friends and the founder of this organization is through the Isaac in Thailand. So at that time we had 3 days of orientation, and I not only in terms of food or other things, but we had to chance to spend 3 days together with him, and so I had the chance to get a close look on the Indonesian culture and the people's opinions about stuff. And well, first of all, to say, since both of our cultures are affected from the religion of Islam, they show a similarity at some level. So other than that, the kindness of people and the thinking for others and helping is a clear similarity between the two cultures. For example, also the excitement for interaction. For example, in those first 3 days, I have brought some food from my country, and I had them taste, and I gave them the piece, if he remembers still. And he also gave me a piece of food that we had each other's opinions. And in terms of food culture, that food I can't still spell the name of it, but it was quite good. And what was that?
Rendang.
Yeah, rendang. Yeah, I mean, there was some spice. It wasn't like the taste that I was used to, but when I tasted, like, in the Thai food, we also tasted some things, and I was not like too nice with these foods. But when I tasted this rendang, it was the feeling as it was like eating a food that was traditional to Turkey, but I haven't tasted it before. It was like I have been to a place in Turkey that I've never been to before, and I tasted their food. It was like a similar culture, reflecting on the taste of the food, maybe because of how the way we cook or which materials to use. In terms of food, yeah, it was like that. And for the friendship, of course, it's priceless. In terms of cultures, the both cultures have a sincere approach to people, the foreigners. But other than that, I haven't really been to Indonesia. I just know some couple of words that also I had a friend that I stayed with during this project, like for 6 weeks. For 6 weeks, we stayed at the same house. So I had learned something from him, but to get a better grasp of the culture, it would be much better to visit and then say something on the matter.
I would like to add a few things. Unfortunately, I haven't been in Indonesia also, but I really like to be in after all this pandemic over and we can go anywhere we want. But once I saw on the internet, and it affects me a lot, I think it's like national park or like island in the Indonesia, I think. Once they realize it's not they closed it for tourism for a while because for the healing of this place, for the healing, the nature of this place getting better, it's affect me a lot. It's affect, how you care your own land, and I hope I can tell clearly, like, they just stop the tourism and they want to protect their land. You protect your national heritage, your national park, because we cannot see in this in our country. We had also unique place. It's called Salda Lake, which is really unique lake, and also the scientist says it's geographic like Mars, one kind of the land of Mars, the planet, but still we are not good at to protect that lake. But once I heard that the news, Indonesia under protect those national park for protect it, it's affect me a lot. It's really nice thing. I just want to say that too. And I really would like to visit that place. I'm really sorry I couldn't remember the name. I tried to find on the internet, but I couldn't.
What the place like that? Can you describe the place?
Maybe it could be Komodo Island. I'm not sure.
Komodo
I
Island.
saw on the Turkish bloggers story once they visited, I think, like years ago, and then once they went there again, they said these islands were closed for protection, for healing the nature. I really impressed that. So I just would like to add that. That's a really nice thing.
That ancient animal.
Yes. So right now is that island open for tourism again?
Sorry?
So for right now, is that island open for tourism again, or it's still closed?
I'm not sure, but I think it will be closed.
But it's really nice thing you want to protect your national heritage. It's really affected me a lot.
Animal was very rare and very ancient, like that, I think. But yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, and thank you, Mame. And I guess I will translate some of it. Pertanyaannya adalah apakah pernah ke Indonesia? Kalau pernah ke Indonesia, apa kebudayaan yang vibe-nya sama gitu kayak kebudayaan di Turki? Nah, dua-duanya Mehmet sama Mave itu Mave belum pernah ke Indonesia, tapi kalau dari Mehmetnya itu mungkin dari sama-sama mayoritas Islam ya, ada background Islamiknya gitu, jadi samanya dari situ. Dan waktu itu dan Kak Mehmet ini punya teman dari Indonesia, dan waktu itu tukeran makanan, dikasih rendang, dan dia bilang katanya rendang itu dia merasa kayak rendang itu makanan Turki, tapi makanan Turki yang belum pernah dia coba kayak gitu. Nah, kalau misalnya dari Kak Mehmet
Kamar dengan saya. Itu.
Oh, berarti yang ngasih Kak Widi rendangnya? Oh, berarti dari Kak Widi rendangnya untuk Kak Mehmet. Nah, terus kalau dari Meve itu dia tertarik banget sama Pulau Komodo, karena tertariknya itu karena sekarang kan Komodo Island, Pulau Komodo itu lagi ditutup ya untuk memulihkan keadaan pulau tersebut, dan dia sangat tertarik dengan itu. Gitu. Okay, next question. Okay, a question from Nurul. In the beginning, I saw that Turkish government will supply free masks for citizens. How they do it? In the beginning, I didn't hear clearly. Sorry for it, so I ask it again.
Okay, no, it's okay. Firstly, after the obligation wear mask announced, the price of masks will go higher, more than it really should be. And the government say they will supply free masks for all citizens. And as far as I know on the TV, on the social media, they send the people's home, like the cargo, maybe I can say like that, to right, Mehmetcan? Cargo, yeah. And for example, for our family, I can give a sample. Until the May, we couldn't reach mask. During my presentation, I also said some people can get, but some people cannot. For our family, our face masks will reach on May, and it was just for me, not for my brother, mother, and father. Just I had 5 face masks. And I could get that on the 5th of May on the pharmacy, because on that time they said the people who wants to get their masks, they also can buy on pharmacy too. And after the May or after the June, I think, they stopped giving free masks because the masks price will drop and people also can afford themselves right now. But first 2 or 3 months, government will supply to the citizen free masks. But as I said, the mask that on the 5th of May. So basically 2 months we didn't get masks from government. We used the one me and my brother bought just after the first case announced. We bought on the internet. I think it was totally 10 face masks, but it was not like the usual one. It was like N95, like ones we use in a hospital.
With the ventilator?
Yeah, with ventilator. And so during these 2 months, we just use these masks, and then we can reach the other masks.
Okay, thank you. The question, pertanyaannya adalah, tadi di presentasi itu dijelaskan bahwa pemerintahnya itu memberikan masker gratis itu gimana. Nah, karena harganya tinggi banget pas pandemi, sama seperti di Indonesia ya, harga masker itu langsung melonjak karena semua orang butuh masker. Dan bahkan mereka itu baru bisa dapat masker itu tanggal 5 Mei, dan itu hanya 5 masker. Dan karena itu pemerintah memberikan masker gratis, setelah itu harga maskernya turun gitu. Next question, pertanyaan selanjutnya. From Sakin Arifin, I have question. Is the online teaching system in the current pandemic era affecting lectures? Thank you, Sakin.
I'm going, Mehmetcan. Yes, unfortunately, it's a fact because normally in the face-to-face education, one lecture takes like 45 minutes, but on the online education, it's 30 minutes. And at the beginning, it was really, there was a lot of problem at the system on the connection. It was, Mehmetcan, we can say collapse. The website always like at the beginning, it was always collapsed and teacher needs to wait to open lecture again. It took time. But right now, I think everything goes on the schedule. But as I said, the time of lecture get decreased. And also, for example, I can say by my observation to my mom and my father's told me to that, like it's not like teaching on the face-to-face, and they cannot see the students and they cannot hear them, and I think education should be like once you ask, they need to answer. So it should be, how can I say? I need a translation just a moment. Karşılıklı. How can I say that?
Reciprocal.
Yeah, it should be reciprocal. Like once one student asks the one teacher asks student should say something, it should be interactive, I think. So because of the online education, I think this bit of effect. And as I said on the presentation, unfortunately, any people in any family in Turkey cannot afford to internet, or maybe they cannot have computer or tablets either. So it's also a fact. For example, you have one computer in home, but 2 or 3 children in home. How it's going to be possible all of them watch their lectures? It's a bit of a fact. So yes, I can say like that. Mehmetcan, do you want to add something to this?
Well, sure. This is the case mostly for the elementary school and the high school. They do the system. In terms of a university student's perspective, that could be a similar approach to your thinking while asking this question. Well, we have these lectures still, but the thing is that when it goes to online, the first parameter that is affected is the interaction. in the breaks with your friends. So in the lecture, when you're learning, you're having a process, but if you're not having a break, a social time with your friends, you cannot see like all education course, and no break and still course. You cannot refresh your mind, and you cannot completely focus on the lecture again. So in the normal time, like, you know, when you're in the university, you can just enter the class and it's break time. You go out, you drink coffee, or you talk with your friends, go outside and have a fresh air, and you can renew yourselves. But in this case, like I'm in the third year now, second semester. For 1 year, for one whole year, I was in my home in Antalya. I'm currently studying in Istanbul. And for the first year of the university, I experienced this university life, like having the courses, and after the courses, we have a break and we are free. But in the house, you can't do that. And since it's pandemic, you can go outside, you're like trapped in a house, even though it's your own house. And even though it's filled with your family, after some point, you want some ways of relaxation, but you can't find it. And this really affects your focus on lectures and courses. And other than that, technology may be easing the communication and the demonstration in courses, but it's also keeps you off the course. I mean, in normal face-to-face course, you have eye contact with the instructor, with the professor. Like, you're communicating and she or he is looking into your eyes and checking if you understand or not. But in the online lectures, most online lectures, you don't turn on your camera if the professor asks specifically, or in most cases, it's not opened. So you can't have a solid connection, and you cannot understand, the professor cannot understand if you really understand the concept or not, and you're having a difficulty also while transferring it. And also, like, we are all talking out of this rectangle of a technological device. It's much better to see a face to talk to when you have the possibility in the courses.
And also, after Mehmetcan's speaking, I remember something to want to say. For example, in my education area, like medicine or other healthcare areas, or other areas like you need to get educational, like applying something. For example, on the last year of medicine, or like nurse, getting education for being a nurse, we are working at a hospital. And this is during beginning of the pandemic, this is also affected. I couldn't work at the hospital like for 3 or 4 months. And also it was really bad for us, because we need those experience. While we were working there, we had a lot of experience for our future job. So it's affected a lot. Because of that, they get vaccinated, all also the students who are working on those kind of areas for turning back to their education. For example, 4th, 5th, and 6th year of medical schools, and I think it's also maybe the last year of the nursing schools, students also getting vaccinated to get them hospital and to their education back. I just would like to add that.
Baik, jadi pertanyaan dari saudara Sakin adalah apakah pandemik ini mempengaruhi lecture-nya di sekolah. Nah, kalau pertama tadi dari Mave itu pertama waktu pelajaran itu berkurang, misal dari 45 menit jadi 30 menit. Terus beberapa masalahnya itu adalah pas pertama kali online sistem ini, itu tuh website ada yang collapse karena banyak diakses, terus jadi membuat guru itu jadi harus menunggu dulu, jadi nggak efektif. Nah, terus Mohammed sama Meve ini merasa kalau misalnya pendidikan itu sebenarnya tuh harus interaktif gitu ya, harus apa ya bahasa kalau dalam Indonesia harus tektokan gitu. Jadi misal tadi contohnya murid itu nanya, nah guru itu langsung jawab gitu. Dan di sana juga masih banyak yang belum bisa beli gadget dan afford internet gitu. Jadi misal ada satu komputer dan 3 anak itu akan sulit untuk belajar online kan. Nah terus untuk dari Mehmetnya itu tadi dari mahasiswa ya. Kalau dari mahasiswa itu sebenarnya kita kayak terjebak di dalam rumah gitu. Kan biasanya kalau misalnya mahasiswa itu antara kelas itu ada istirahatnya kan, terus keluar kelas ketemu teman-teman, tapi sekarang tuh nggak ada refreshingnya, nggak ada relaxingnya, jadi kita di rumah aja gitu. Nah terus kata Mehmet juga belajar eye to eye, maksudnya tatap muka itu lebih baik, maksudnya lebih enak karena guru itu bisa ngecek nih apakah kamu benar-benar ngerti atau enggak. Dan tadi tambahan dari Mave itu ada karena dia kerja di hospital ya dan dia butuh pengalaman. Jadi tapi karena pandemi ini belum boleh ke hospital jadi sempat terhambat gitu untuk mendapatkan pengalaman bekerja di hospital itu. Dan untuk mendukung hal tersebut, jadi pelajar-pelajar di bidang kesehatan itu divaksin semua biar bisa kerja lagi di rumah sakit seperti itu. Okay, next question. Dari Ajat Trudiat, I have a question. Whether studying on TV broadcast or the internet online can overcome the learning of Turkish students, can we be sure that the student is studying? That's the question.
Oh, well, I think they are not learning as much as learn face-to-face, but it's kind of some way to keep still them, like keep them still, how can I say, to relate with their lessons until the time we are going back to face-to-face education. Unfortunately, we know this is not the best way, and this is not effective as the face-to-face education. This is the only one we get. But I could say, I wish we do something different, like how we manage the pandemic. For example, before we are opening other things, we should have opened schools instead of anything. Because I can understand economy is important too, of course, and people need to get money. I really understand that. But if we cannot provide education, it won't be good for the next generations. So if I could change something, I would like to change that to open schools, but close everything. Just keep track to education going on. But unfortunately, yes, I as a student, if I be a student, sorry, probably I wouldn't get as much as I get during the face-to-face. Maybe Mehmetcan also can add something because he's currently getting online education too, but I always get my education on face-to-face. I was fortunate one because I think online one won't be like the face-to-face.
Sorry. The thing is, when you have TV broadcast for education, you have zero interaction. All the thing that is going on is you receiving information and the lecture from the TV. You cannot involve, you cannot participate. And then if it's through the internet, it is partially interactive. As I said before in the previous question, it's like partially interactive and you cannot completely attend the class. Normally, if you're face-to-face, you connect more easily and you can feel free to ask questions. But when it comes to online education, people has like a hesitation of should I ask, should I interrupt the class? And like internet takes this hesitation into another step, because you know, face to face, even if you seem like you can't understand, professor or the lecturer can come to you and ask you what's the problem, or I think you have a question. Do you have any questions? Like, you look into your eyes. But if you have internet, the online education through Zoom or other meetings, like it's more vague, not clear that you are not understanding, and the other part, the professor, is seeing that, or you cannot reflect that easily. It may like be an hesitation, or I don't know. It's something we are all not used to. It's something we all first to observe and the experience in the online education. But I can say that it clearly reduces your ambition and drive for studying the courses. I mean, at least for me and for some friends that I talked with in my university, that we discussed this, especially this semester. This is going to be the third semester that is online. Like the morals and the ambition to learn and develop yourself through the lectures is decreasing every time it continues the online education, because education is not only from learning the knowledge, it's also the creativity and the gathering up all these pieces. And you're not only learning when you're listening to the lecturer, the professor, you're also learning when you're discussing the concepts with your friends. And when you're, for example, if one of your friends don't understand a point in the class, you're explaining them in the face-to-face education. And when you're explaining to them, you're understanding it also better. So it also disables this part of education. And that's why I think they are not comparatively equal in terms of effectiveness. That's what I can say.
Oke, baik. Jadi pertanyaan dari saudara Ajat Rudiat adalah, intinya kan kita belajar online, gimana kita bisa pasti ini kalau misalnya para siswa dan siswi itu belajar gitu. Nah, dari jawaban dari Mewe itu sebenarnya emang kurang efektif, dan apa yang didapatkan itu nggak sebanyak belajar face to face, tapi seenggaknya ini yang bisa kita lakukan sampai kita bisa belajar normal lagi dan belajar face to face gitu. Dan menurut Mewe juga sekolah itu adalah hal yang paling penting, hal nomor satu untuk dibuka pertama kali daripada hospital dan daripada rumah sakit dan hal-hal lainnya gitu. Sekolah paling penting gitu. Nah, tambahan dari Mehmet itu adalah online learning itu dia menurut dia itu zero interaction, karena menurut dia kita nggak bisa seutuhnya gitu untuk masuk kelas dan belajar di kelas tersebut. Nah, online learning ini juga meningkatkan rasa ragu, misalnya kita ragu untuk nanya apakah kita harus ganggu kelasnya pas di tengah-tengah kelas kayak gitu. Jadi mengurangi ambisi untuk belajar, mengurangi semangat untuk belajar gitu. Kalau misalnya langsung kan kita nggak cuma belajar dari penjelasan profesornya aja ya, kita juga bisa belajar dari diskusi dengan teman, dan juga kita bisa nanya langsung dan dijawab langsung juga sama profesornya. Nah, untuk we have I guess 2 more questions. Question from Dewi Kurnia. Assalamualaikum, pardon me, I have a question. In what ways can Turkish students learn during a pandemic, whether Turkish students are studying face-to-face or learning from home? Thank you, Dewi, for the question.
One thing I can suggest is, well, we have a class, we have a course. In the beginning of the pandemic, we had a semester, and at that semester we had a course. In that course, we were normally having the course topics and etc. If anyone is interested, the course name is Optical, Electrical, and Magnetic Properties of Materials. It's like a material science course. And in that course, the lecturer wanted us to discuss the concepts, discuss the topics in our group. Like for example, we were all in the dormitories in the beginning of the semester when there was no pandemic, and we were reserving a room at the library of the school, and it was like a room where you can talk loud because it was soundproof to others to not to be disturbed. And we were starting it after the dinner, and we were there for 4 or 5 hours. And also the lecturer was providing us a kind of like a homework or problem set. We were all discussing it together. And, as I mentioned before, when you're explaining something to another person, this is the best part when you're sure that you learn the stuff. So after the pandemic, the precautions were applied when we were home and going on with the courses. We talked with our friends again that we had these meetings with, and said, let's continue these meetings on Zoom again, even though it's online and we don't meet face to face. And we still had the effect of that, like having a class in the weekly schedule. And in addition to that, for example, as a guidance, you have a homework for that week, and you're gathering up with your friends and discussing the homework and taking your notes. By the way, it may be not allowed for some lecturers because they may think it's like a plagiarism or cheating, but it was not like a cheating. It was like sharing the ideas. What do you think about this homework? How can we do it? And we share the ideas, and all the doing stuff was separate. So we were like discussing and talking about the concepts, taking notes, and we go to our own rooms. When we get back to the dormitory, we were doing it on our own. So apart from that part, that if you don't do it together, you can together share the topics, discuss the topics, and explain to each other where the other one is missing and not sure of your knowledge. It is, I think, the most important advice that I can give in terms of learning. But indirectly to learning contribution, it can be like, as I said, the most important thing is the motivation. To renew your motivation, you should find, no need, but to improve your morale and ambition during the lecture, you can find some hobbies that you can clear your mind out of the classes. And since we cannot go online, and since we cannot go outside often as we could previously, it would be nice to find a distraction, perhaps music, or I don't know, some kind of art, or some research, or physical activity that you can do in your house or near your house. So some kind of a distraction would be nice to keep you focused on the learning process.
So right now, both are still going on, the face-to-face education and online education. A few weeks ago, also first grade students who they're going to learn writing and reading. School were open for them too, but right now it's closed. Just 2 grade, 8th grade and 12th grade of students, they are going to school. The other one have an online lecture. But it's it's a dynamic process. It's always keep changing by weeks, by months. But for right now, both education models are going on, online and face-to-face.
Jadi pertanyaan dari Saudari Dewi adalah, kalau di Turki pelajar belajarnya gimana pas pandemi ini, apakah face to face atau belajar dari rumah? Nah, dua-duanya itu ada, face to face ada dan online juga ada, tapi itu dinamis ya, bisa berubah-ubah. Nah, waktu itu kemarin sempat kelas 1 itu belajar face to face, menulis dan membaca, tapi balik lagi ke online, dan sekarang yang offline itu lagi kelas 8 dan kelas 11. Nah, kalau misalnya dari mahasiswa tadi, dari Mehmet, kalau di mahasiswa itu diberi materi untuk diskusi grup, sebenarnya sama seperti offline, tapi dijadikan online aja. Kalau misalnya di Zoom itu nanti dibagi ke per room, dan habis itu diskusi, habis itu nanti keluar dari room lagi. Terus untuk mempertahankan ambisi belajar selama pandemik ya, tips dari Mehmet adalah untuk mencari hobi gitu, biar tetap semangat belajar dan nggak terlalu bosan belajar di rumah. Seperti itu. I guess that was the last question. That was the last question. Thank you so much, Mehmet and Mavi, for sharing very informative presentation and answering our questions. Thank you so much for joining us today and make time for this Zoom webinar. And I guess that was it for the presentation session and the Q&A session. Ines, are you still, okay, Ines, there you go. Okay, back to Ines. After you, Ines. Thank you.
Okay, hello again. Thank you, Kairin, for let us through the presentation session. Wow, now of course we get so much insights and informations about Turkey, right? Thank you for our speakers today, to Mehmet and Merfi, for sharing so much knowledge and delivered very well from history of Turkey, Turkish cuisine, and then traditional dance, music, traditions, and also comprehensive insights about education and Ramadan season during COVID-19 pandemics in Turkey. Okay, but we are not done yet, because what? Because we have door prize for lucky participants. Perhaps Kawidi. Hello, Kawidi.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, will you lead this door prize session?
Okay, but I think before we want to know who get the present or the prize for today, I think it's better we get the photo session first, because the participant already so much. And please turn on all of your camera is turn on. Silakan nyalakan dulu kameranya semuanya. Yeah, I think all of you can turn on all of your camera, please. Kak Ines bisa dipandu untuk take picture-nya.
Okay, I'll take the screenshot.
Okay, please count. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, first slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then the second slide, 1, 2, 3. Wait a second, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Next slide. Enough?
Yeah, only 2 slides.
Or this slide. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's already getting there. Or once more.
Enough.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to search to get the prize today. Kira-kira enaknya mau ada 5 orang apa cuma 2 orang? Kalau cuma 2 orang, the amount is big. Tapi kalau misalnya cuma 5 orang, ya amount-nya nggak banyak, just little. Gimana? Ada yang mau berbicara? Oke, saya ngisi berdasarkan absensi ya. Di sini ada yang belum ngisi absensi belum? Yang belum ngisi absensi bisa diisi. Saya mau drop dulu buat yang di sini yang udah ngisi absensi hari ini. Okay. Mehmet, we want to get some people who get some door prize or reason for joining this webinar today. Okay, I want to share my screen. Yeah. Okay, I want to random pick this. So please, for all of you which don't feeling atau belum mengisi absensinya, jadi ini bukan ini ya, ini tadi cuma nyoba aja. Kita coba sekarang. Enaknya mau 1, mau 2, atau mau 5 orang? Ada yang mau ngomong? Kalau 2, biasanya dapatnya besar. Kalau 5 orang, dapatnya tidak terlalu besar. Gimana? Oke, ada yang mau ngomong. Oke, kita cari dulu 1, kita pilih 5 aja dari 5 orang. Oke. We choose 5 people. Oke, yang pertama, kalau nggak ada namanya, kalau dipanggil tidak nyaut, berarti hangus ya. Yang pertama, Desi Carolina ada? Halo Kak Desi. Kak Desi ada? Pak di chat, ada nggak di chat? Nggak ada juga ya? Oke, berarti
Ada
hangus.
di chat.
Oh, ada. Ada di chat?
Ada di chat.
Oke, 1 bisa dicatat Kak Ines ya, mau dicatat. Tadi siapa namanya Kak Desi Carolina. Okay, the first is Desi Carolina. Next, Silna Mukhlisoh ada? Kak Silna ada? Nggak ada. Oh, Kak Silna nggak ada. Agus ya Kak?
Ada Kak.
Oh, ada. Keren nggak ada. Oke, kita search for the third people, for the third winner. Sakin Arifin ada? Sakin Arifin? Oh, nggak ada kayaknya ya.
Ada Kak.
Oh, ada. Sakin Arifin ini cowok ya. Oke. Tadi 3 ya? Berarti ini yang keempat ya? Oke. Heni Dwi Saputri ada? Apa nggak ada? Heni Dwi Saputri? Oh, kayaknya nggak ada ya? Oke, nggak ada. Saya kocok lagi berarti. Silna lagi? Nggak. Terus cuma dapat 2 kali. No. Oke, Iklil Salsabila ada? Nggak ada ya? Iklil Salsabila? Nggak ada. Oke, nggak apa. Tadi udah berapa Kak Ines? Baru 3 ya?
Baru 3.
3. Amita Resia ada?
Kami.
Kami ini harusnya ada. Halo kami. Halo kami, Amita Resia. Kayaknya nggak ada juga. There's nothing, Ami, there, nggak ada. Ya udah nggak apa-apa, kita random lagi, we random again. Prilia Dwi Damayanti ada? Kak Prilia Dwi Damayanti ada?
Ada Kak di chat itu. Kayaknya nggak bisa mikrofonnya.
Oh ada. Kenapa nggak ngomong aja Kak Prilia? Oke, tadi baru 4 ya Kak Ines ya? 1 lagi berarti ya?
Iya, 1 lagi.
Oke, sekian. Nggak bisa di-unmute. Hah, ini ya. Siapa nih? Silna lagi. 3 kali loh. Bisa-bisanya Silna 3 kali. Oke. Udah 3 kali. Dapat gelas ini Kak Silna. Nagita. Ada Nagita? Istimuna? Aisyah? Nagita. Halo Nagita. Ada sih orangnya. Rezeki anak baik-baik Kak. Anak baik-baik. Nagita ada orangnya nih ya? Kok jadi nggak ada? Ya kita kocok lagi deh, sekali lagi deh. Ini ada nih Nagita. Halo Nagita, can you hear me? Udah sekali lagi deh. Nggak jawab juga ya. Lagi basic channel nggak? Oh ya. Udah nggak apa-apa, tadi tambahin aja. Aprilia udah ya tadi ya? Wah,
Udah.
kacau. Jadi pas dulu aja bentar.
Dihapus aja apa enggak Kak yang udah dapet?
Oh iya ya, benar. Kok saya bodoh ya? Kita random lagi once more. Anatolia lagi. Tadi yang dapat siapa aja hapus? Ini ya. Nih Kak Zelna nih dapat lagi nih, nggak boleh. Aduh. Terus Sakin Arifin udah ya tadi ya?
Sakin Arifin.
Nggak ada juga. Terus siapa aja tadi?
Desi Carolina.
Desi Carolina udah.
Sama
Udah.
Aprilia Dwi Damayanti.
Dah. Harusnya sih nama baru. Shortly is the new name. Ajat Rudia ada? Halo Ajat. Nggak ada ya? Ada. Ajat Rudiat. Halo Kak Ajat. Ada. Maaf itu Ajat Rudiat. Ya, Kak Ajat Rudiat. Oke, berarti sudah ada 5 ya sama Kak Ajat Rudiat. Oke. Yeah, that's enough I think for wood people. That is all of that. I think after this you can tell the MC or in the group to redeem the door prize to MC or to me. Okay. I think I give back to Ines. Okay, Ines, silakan.
Okay. So you can contact anyone or the committee or Kawidi or to me to claim your gift. Congratulations to the 5 winners of the door prize. Okay, here we are at the closing session. Once again, thank you for all of the enthusiasm and attention from the participants that joined with us this afternoon. Thank you for both our speakers, our moderator, and also Pena Rusa Indonesia community, HMJ Hukum Keluarga UIN Bandung, and all people and committee behind this event. Don't forget to follow our social media at as.uinsgd on Instagram, at Pena Rusa Indonesia on Instagram, and Pena Rusa Indonesia on YouTube for more interesting events and contents. This webinar will also be uploaded on YouTube, so you can check it out also. Okay, for closing statement, I apologize if there were any mistakes on me or in this event, but we are open for suggestion and constructive criticism. Last but not least, happy Ramadan fasting for all of the Muslim friends. Happy weekend. May the peace be upon and inside all of us. Good afternoon. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Kak Ines.
Yeah, now you may leave this room. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Silakan untuk